Hello, my name is Sydney Halpin, and I'm the president of the New Jersey Jazz Society. Welcome to the October Virtual Social. The New Jersey Jazz Society is celebrating its 49th birthday this month, and I think it's very fitting that tonight's program is highlighting the future of jazz. For those that are not familiar with the New Jersey Jazz Society, we are a 49-year-old organization, and we are funded primarily through membership and through donations. Both of these situations, both of these tasks can be accomplished. If you would like to join after you've watched tonight's program, you can do so on our website, njjs.org. You can also make a donation there if you're so inclined. Both have very easy buttons that you can just click through and accomplish those tasks. We do use PayPal to process both our membership and donations. You do not have to have a PayPal account, however. You can put in whatever credit card information as it prompts you. So I'd like to thank those of you that are members that are watching this evening. I'd like to thank those of you that have been donors in the past this evening. And for those of you that might make a future donation, thank you in advance. We really do appreciate any size donation is very welcome. To that end, the Jazz Society, as a perk of membership, we publish a digital magazine, 11 issues a year. It's award-winning. It's fantastic. It's edited by Sanford Josephson, who always knows what's what. It is usually a benefit of membership, but tonight, since you're watching, since you've joined us, if you aren't a member, please, we'd like you to access the magazine. Go to the website, njjs.org, click on View Digital Issue, and it will prompt you for a password. The password through the end of October is Satin Doll, capital S, capital D, 2 words with a space in between. Again, the password is Satin Doll. Please feel free to enjoy the magazine, download it, and read it at your leisure. Tonight's concert is made possible, and I have to read this, excuse me, because I need to get this right. Tonight's concert is made possible in part by Morris Arts through the New Jersey State Council on the Arts, Department of State, and a partner agency of the National Endowment for the Arts. You can see why I had to read that. I am so delighted to introduce tonight's Rising Stars musicians, the Baker Street Trio with special guest Alex Lorenzi. The trio is comprised of Ben Collins-Siegel on piano, Ryoma Takenaga on bass, and Ben Schwartz on drums. You are in for an amazing treat. These young musicians really belie their years, and we have covered them in previous issues, which you can get on the archives under magazine on the website. We've in the September-October issue of 2019, in the May-June 2020 issue, as well as in the May 2021 issue. Clearly, we have been enamored with these players for a very long time. The pianist Ben and Ryoma have won Outstanding Soloist Awards. They both won awards at the 12th Annual Charles Mingus Festival and High School Competition in New York City. And Ryoma was also accepted into the Carnegie Hall NYO Jazz Orchestra. And I believe all 3 of these fine musicians are part of the Jazz House Kids programming as well. Perhaps they'll tell us a little bit more about themselves during the program. So on behalf of the board of the New Jersey Jazz Society and myself, we'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. We'd like to thank the Baker Street Trio and Alex Lorenzi for agreeing to perform this evening. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the Baker Street Trio.
Hi, we're the Baker Street Trio. I'm Ben Collins-Siegel on piano, Ryoma Takenaga on bass, and Ben Schwartz on drums. We're going to start off our set with a tune called On Green Dolphin Street, featuring Ben Schwartz on drums. Next tune we're going to play is the quartet. It's going to start off featuring Ryoma Takenaga. All right, the next tune we're going to play is The End of a Love Story. 1, 2, 1. and soul.
For the last team, we're going to be playing Evidence by Thelonious Monk featuring Alex Lorenzi on alto sax.
Hi, my name is Alex Lorenzi, and we're here with Ben Schwartz, Ryoma Takenaga, and Ben Collins-Siegel, and together they make up the Baker Street Trio. You just heard their wonderful set, and now we're going to ask them a few questions and get to know the musicians behind the group. Start with you, Ben. Just curious about how you got into music and who some of your major influences are on the drums.
So I've been playing the drums since I was in kindergarten, and I've originally discovered just what it means to be a drummer in my kindergarten music class on the first day of school. And I came into the class and I saw like a tiny blue drum, and my music teacher at the time, Boris Galpern, I asked to play the blue drum just because I was curious what it sounded like, and he said, yeah, of course. And ever since then, I came home, I asked my mom for a drum set for my birthday. I got a cheap Walmart kit, and I started then. But I'd say I really got started in jazz drums in 2nd grade when I stopped taking lessons with my teacher, Mr. Galpern, and I switched to the wonderful program Jazz House Kids, where Mr. Chubb, one of the directors of the program, was able to get me a spot in one of the lower groups, and that's where I really started finding my love for the music and learning how to swing. And I'd say my major influences, really the person who got me into the drums was Buddy Rich. Just watching him play those incredible solos in his big bands and just watching those videos over and over again, mesmerized by all the tricks and things he's able to do. That really is what sort of pushed me into becoming a drummer. So I'd say Buddy Rich is one of my main influences.
Awesome. And Rhea, how about you?
Yeah, so I also started at a very young age. I started piano at 5 years old, but I started bass in my 4th grade orchestra, where we played regular classical music, and one of the things I remember is I felt very limited. I used to noodle around and kind of get in trouble a lot because I wouldn't play the notes exactly, and so I was introduced to Jazz House Kids like Ben just a few weeks before the program started, and luckily they needed an extra bass player in the lower band. So I took the spot, and since then I was able to meet an amazing, a lot of amazing musicians, and since then I've been playing the music. And so my biggest influence, which kind of ties in with first going to Jazz House Kids and that being my first experience with jazz, Christian McBride was the first bass player I ever saw live, and that was really a big moment for me because I was so mesmerized by his playing. And so ever since that first concert, he has had a very, very big influence on my playing.
That's great. And Ben, how about you?
So I started in classical music. My dad had actually still been in contact with his music teacher when he was a kid. So when I was 4 years old, he started me up with that same teacher, and I was working on classical music for about 4 years. Actually more like until I was 10, or 9 or 10, and actually Ben Schwartz kind of introduced me to Jazz House Kids. So I started in one of the lowest bands and worked my way up. And through Jazz House, I made many connections, and it was giving me more opportunities.
Yeah. And who are some of your big influences?
Oscar Peterson, of course, Thelonious shit. Yeah.
Great. And so how long have you known Ben Schwartz?
3 or 4 years.
Yeah. I'd say professionally we've known each other 3 or 4 years, but
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
our parents have been friends for a very long
Yeah.
time. So.
No, well, I think it kind of comes through in the chemistry of the group, and I kind of want to ask about that now because there are not many teenagers who are not only playing gigs at the level that you guys are playing them, but you guys are busy. You guys are playing a lot of gigs together as the Baker Street Trio. So I'm curious about how that formed and kind of what some of your goals are as a group, at this time of your lives.
Well, I've been playing with Rio for a really long time, ever since I think it was my first Jazz House Kids summer workshop experience. And we were playing together with Ed Palermo way back when, and that was my first connection with Rio. But I've known Ben since I'd say 3rd or 4th grade. He was playing classical at my school, and the Baker Street Trio formed during the pandemic, and we were playing Baker Street. We were playing on Baker Street every once in a while.
Where is Baker Street?
Baker Street's in Maplewood, New Jersey.
And you guys are from there and still live there, yeah?
Yeah, me and Ben are from Maplewood, New Jersey.
Rio, where are you from?
I'm from New Providence.
Yes, from Providence, yeah. But pretty much, the pandemic was tough for a lot of jazz musicians and a lot of people, and I think the Baker Street Trio really formed, and we try to make everybody's day, whoever passes us, try to make it just a little bit better, because you really never know like what a person's going through when they hear your music. And I think we were able to give a lot of people something to look forward to, we have like a little community. Like a lot of people really take joy in listening to our music, and I think that's one of the things that like the Baker Street Trio really focuses on.
That's great. And what are maybe some of the kind of group concepts you guys share, or, the music that you're trying to play together? Like, what are some of the? Do you guys talk about it, or you just kind of bring in different tunes and experiment? What's the process of putting your repertoire together and playing together?
It's actually not really planned out. I mean, sometimes tell each other a few tunes to learn, but for the most part, it's just like rehearsing on the bandstand. It's originally it was just something we were doing for fun. It was just me and Ben on the street for like 2 or 3 hours. We didn't really have a bass player. We had Ed Palermo with us, but then I started to bring in more gigs. I think you guys were kind of familiar with each other, but not really. And we've just been, we're still like learning and playing around.
It's great.
And that's where
It's a very organic process, I guess, musically. You're still kind of figuring out what you guys like to do, and that's great. So now, we've talked about you guys and your group, and I kind of want to zoom out a little bit to kind of the overall jazz community, not only in New Jersey, but kind of even thinking on a kind of global level. What do you think of like the state of the music today, and as young ambassadors for it? Do you think about kind of what you're doing in terms of some of the greater social and political issues of our time, or what does it mean, for you guys to be young musicians in this particular moment in our history?
Yeah, I think right now we're at this crossroad where the older generation, there's this older generation and this younger generation, and it's really interesting to hear this, the music kind of moving towards a different direction. I think the pandemic really affected musicians' lives, and that like directly influenced where the music is going today. So without the pandemic, who knows where the music would have been. But currently, the pandemic has really influenced everyone. Of course, everything that went on during the pandemic also greatly influenced how the music is today. And I think it's really interesting to see how there's this new younger generation that's really, really passionate about the music still. And a lot of musicians, including myself and the Baker Street Trio, we really want to move the music forward. I think jazz is an amazing art form, but over time it continues to progress, and I think that's a really important part of our goal in playing the music, and as well for the general jazz musician.
Yeah, great. Do you have any thoughts on the matter?
Yeah, I agree. Like the music of jazz really develops over time, and it's definitely important. The Baker Street Trio, we're kind of like playing together and developing this music even more. We're in the young generation, but definitely moving this music to the next generation.
And I think the fact that you guys, in this kind of vacuum of cultural life during the pandemic, the fact that you guys took it upon yourselves to, form as a group, not maybe with the intention of playing the gigs that you guys are playing now, but just kind of continuing to keep the spirit of music alive and that human interaction, and the fact that it's grown into, something that will obviously last beyond the pandemic. I think it shows, you guys are definitely, your head is in the right space and your heart is in the right space. The fact that you understand this music's, social impact on the community around you, and the larger community, right?
Yeah.
And the global community. You guys have an upcoming show. I just want to hear about where that is, what the gig is.
Yeah, so we have a gig on October 22nd at 7:30 in Maplewood, and we're going to be opening for the great Bernie Williams and Gail Parrish Quintet, and we're really looking forward to it. Bernie Williams is an incredible incredible baseball player, played for many years on the Yankees, you know, baseball legend, and he's very talented on guitar, incredible guitar player. And Parris, Grammy nominee, we're so excited to play for both of them, and that's going to be at the Woodland in Maplewood at 7:30. So yeah.
On what day?
October 22nd. Yes,
That's
I
Friday?
think it's Friday, yeah, Friday, October 22nd, 7:30.
Okay. And are there tickets or is it a free event?
I think there are going to be some ticket sales, so watch out for that. But we have some flyers posted around, so just getting, you know, be sure to take a picture. And yeah, come out and support. It's going to be a really fun night.
Let's hear one more time for Ben Schwartz on drums, Ryoma Takenaga on bass, and Ben Collins-Siegel on piano. They are the Baker Street Trio. Please follow them on all their social media, Instagram, Facebook, and the like. Ben also has a new website, so you can keep up with where they're performing on his website as well. And catch them October 22nd at the Woodland.